Hello, this is Joe Bailey, and this is my weekly blog on my upcoming book, Thriving in the Eye of the Hurricane, Finding Our Innate Resilience in These Challenging Times. And today I'm especially filled with gratitude for this year, and that may sound kind of strange, but I'm grateful especially to those who have been serving us, our first responders, our frontline workers in healthcare, all of the people in our restaurants, our um, grocery stores, all the people who are helping us to get through these times and take care of our physical health, our mental health, and all of our needs. And so I wanted to start with that, with just how blessed we are to have such heroes, such courageous people willing to put themselves out with a feeling of caring for all of us who are going through these challenging times. This last week, I was working on the chapter in my book that specifically addresses our frontline workers, and I interviewed two nurses. And their stories were very different and yet very similar in that they both were burned out as RNs, registered nurses, before they learned the principles that are in this book on resilience. And since they learned these principles, their careers got a complete reboot. Um, Louise, who's an RN in Northern Ireland, works for the National Health Service of the UK and in the country of Ireland. Before she learned these principles, she was on medications for depression and anxiety. She was so stressed out, so overwhelmed and burned out from her career that she had to take a 2-year leave of absence. And it was during that time that she went on a search and read lots of books and discovered the three principles. Eventually attended a 3-month program with Jamie Smart in London to have a more depth experience. And in the first weekend that she was involved in this course, she had a very huge awakening experience. And after that time, her depression was lifted. She got off all of her meds and got back into nursing. And as a result of her transformation, she was promoted to be the director of quality care for Northern Ireland for healthcare. And so she works with physicians and nurses and helping them to get through these challenging times. And she just shared how she wouldn't be a nurse anymore if she hadn't learned these principles. So that was a really powerful story, and I'm just giving you a glimpse of it. The second person was a woman in Texas who's also an RN, works for a healthcare system as a nurse in the post-anesthesiologist department, working with patients who are just coming out of surgery, some anesthesia experience. And she too, before she learned these principles, was ready to quit as a nurse. She was under so much pressure with all the paperwork, the electronic medical record keeping system, all of the legal requirements, et cetera, in healthcare. And it just looked like her stress was coming from the system she was working in. And she was also going through a lot of stress with her family, with problems with her kids. And her husband had PTSD from his time in the war in Desert Storm. And so when she found these principles, she learned them from Dr. Keith Blevins in a seminar on resilience. She was in chronic pain, as well as being burned out and stressed. Her whole body ached. And after learning the principles and seeing the connection between that, her stress wasn't coming from her circumstances, it was coming from how she perceived those circumstances through the power of thought, through the power of the mind, through the power of consciousness to create that experience. And it was revelational for her. And her pain almost immediately subsided. And she started to see that connection between the body and the mind, how much the stresses were really leading to exacerbating her physical pain. So as a result, both of them, the latter person has started a nurse coaching program with another nurse helping other nurses because she wants other nurses to see how to not just survive in nursing but to thrive. And the other nurse is involved with starting podcasts for the whole National Health Service in Northern Ireland to teach these principles as well as other ways that they can be supportive and help people going through this. So that's just a little bit of what I'll be talking about in part 4 of the book, The Echoes of Mind, Resilience in Action. But it was particularly inspiring given what all the healthcare workers, police, fire, anyone who's working in the addiction field or mental health, there's so much more demand of our energies and our time. And when we know how to tap into that wellspring of resilience that's always there, it's just a thought away. It not only transforms us, but we pass that on through our healing that we give to those that we serve. So have a very happy new year, a very happy holiday, however you're celebrating, and I'll check in with you next week. Thanks.